has somehow created a miracle where Paul W Fleming and moi, Nigel Cecil, will come together to protest about mandatory digital IDs being imposed on the citizens of the United Kingdom is wow.
Nigel Cecil, calling things out.
Hello, Chakabatis. Welcome. Circus Starmarama, who's the clown, and what's it all about? Unintended consequences, saying that the miracle of digital IDs will bring together protesting Paul W Fleming and moi, Nigel Cecil. Many true words are said in jest. And so for this video, a little bit of creativity, a little bit of fun to make it more informative. But many of our regular viewers are members of Equity, the trade union for professional actors, variety entertainers and other creatives across the United Kingdom. And Paul W Fleming is their General Secretary. We have respect for Paul because they really do push forward their ideology. We may disagree and say it's not in the professional interests of Equity members, but we acclaim the fact that they are determined to push what they believe in. So the concept that Keir Starmerama Circus, the clown, producing all sorts of things that were never mentioned in their manifesto, trying to fool everyone, has somehow created a miracle where Paul W Fleming and moi, Nigel Cecil, will come together to protest about mandatory digital IDs being imposed on the citizens of the United Kingdom is, wow, a miracle. How do we know that Paul W Fleming would support our point of view of being against mandatory digital IDs? Well, it's because they are a friend, a compatriot, a fellow traveller of Jeremy Corbyn. And Jeremy Corbyn posted this on their X account, didn't they, Hillary? Yes, saying quite clearly they were against digital IDs. So we are assuming that Paul Fleming equally is against them. So why are we against them? Here's some of the information. Have you seen all the newspaper headlines? Some are in favour. Have they got a hidden agenda? What about Tony Blair? In league now with Circus Starmerama and the clowns, Tony Blair saying it will be easier for us to, identify who we are. Easier? You've got your phone here and it's going to be easier. Do we want it to be easier, Hillary? No. We want it to be harder. Just look. Hackers get into the system and all our information will be together so they can hack and get all our information and use it against us or change things slightly. Come on, you'll say it won't happen, but what about Jaguar Land Rover? The NHS, the primary school that's just been hacked, British Airways, the banks, all the systems down. And you say it can't happen. Oh no, the government say it'll be perfectly safe. Yes, lessons to be learned, and we will learn them when it's too late. And when it's too late, millions of information have leaked everywhere, and we're all open to all sorts of things. And we have to carry our mandatory digital ID around with us. Haven't got it with you? That's an offence. Are you going to fine us? No, come on. This can't possibly be good. And then, when you think about showbiz, just by way of a comparison, freedom in the arts, their research shows there's cancel culture. And you're all aware of cancel culture in the arts. Freedom of expression. You're not saying what the radical progressives want, the accepted speech. You get cancelled. Now, with celebrities, cancel culture may be obvious. But what about you, moi, ordinary people trying to say something on social media now that governments or other activists don't like, and they've got access to your information? They could maybe just tweak it a little. So there's a little note and you're getting cancelled all in the background because they've realised what you've been doing and they've got all your information. It can't possibly be happening, can it? But just think, if you're not known, cancel culture may not be known. You may not be aware of it. What about the Horizon Post Office scandal? Individual postmasters didn't realise that it was happening to lots of others. It went on for years. They were ripped off by a big organisation that kept the data to themselves. Would a government do that? Surely not. Surely they could. Conspiracy theories, well, yes, we're all for conspiracy theories, especially when it may well be true. Look about Nigel Farage. With their X account, they've come up against it. They've said we're not in favour of mandatory digital IDs. So has Kemi Badenoch, not in favour of digital IDs. All sides of the political spectrum coming together, but of course there will be those, the globalists, who will say, come on, we want to be able to control you all. But there's another aspect at my age, I think, I'm experienced enough to say, because when equity was taken over by a radical progressive agenda, it didn't happen overnight. It was by stealth. It started in the 90s. Someone with an ideology never gives up. Remainers never give up. Brexiteers never give up. Everyone hopes to wear someone else down. And so, Tony Blair started it 20 odd years ago, and now it's back again. And look, others are expressing concern. But is that concern for the elderly a sprat to catch a mackerel? Because, well, we old people can't cope. So the government, by way of a concession, might say, well, all right, when we bring it in, because all you young people can cope, bull you up a little bit, say how wonderful you are, all you young people can cope. So what we'll do is, the old people will say it'll only come in, let's say, when you're 65. That sounds nice, doesn't it? Just think, a stealth agenda. Slowly, slowly. In 20 years' time, 30 years' time, tomorrow is my birthday today, we might all be dead. Well, we will all be dead, won't we? Heaven forbid. And so you'll end up at your age with mandatory digital IDs imposed simply because, well, we'll be nice to the old folk. It's only going to last a nice consideration for 20 years or so. So don't be fooled by them saying, well, we'll now look after the old folk. It's what's going to happen in the next decade and the decade after that, once you've agreed to mandatory compulsory IDs. Don't let it happen. Lessons to be learnt. Don't wait to learn the lesson. Take note of the lesson now. This particular instance, Paul W Fleming, Jeremy Corbyn, Nigel Farage, Kemi Badenoch, and moi, Nigel Cecil, all coming together. Even the extremes, though, will say we're going to meet in the middle, the red and the blue coming together to say we are united in saying we will never agree to mandatory digital IDs being imposed on the citizens of the United Kingdom.